Hey guys, I'm Steve. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. I want to give a little update about a video that I did on Friday about Richneck Elementary. The name of the teacher has been released. I think her name is Abigail Warner. And supposedly Friday she had sustained some pretty serious injuries from the gunshot. Today they said she's in stable condition. But I seen something on the internet earlier, and I figured I'd make a video about it. And then what it was today they talked to the press and had a full press conference. The superintendent of the schools, the mayor of Newport News, and the chief of police, who was supposedly at the scene, who made some statements. What I got from it was, we'll go person by person. We'll go with the chief of police first. Before I get into that, it is good that the young lady is doing better in the hospital. Let me add that. But chief of police, you can see he was still emotionally upset about the situation of a 6-year-old boy shooting his teacher in class in front of students. He was emotionally upset. But I think a lot of that emotion comes from him being an officer and being on scene when the tensions and stuff was high. What he said was, he also praised the teacher for her bravery, because supposedly after she was shot, she still got all her kids out of class before she left herself. And it says he still sticks with the narrative of the shooting was intentional. He says, from the details that they did discuss, he said the little boy did not have the gun in his book bag. According to witnesses, she was at the board doing something, I guess trying to teach or whatever at the board. He stood up, pulled the gun out of his person, and shot her. Now, I know it's more to the story than that, because when they talk about it, from different aspects, you kind of can put it together, but I'll get into that a little later. Like I said, he was mostly upset, but I mean, he's coming from a police officer standpoint and a standpoint of keeping law and order. You know what I'm saying? And he's saying, hey, it's intentional. All right. That's the first thing. School superintendent spoke. What he said is they canceled school for the whole week with no timetable of return. So these guys, as far as the school, can be out indefinitely until they feel like coming back. What I thought was interesting, he said this is the third time in the history in 50 years that a 6-year-old has discharged a firearm in school. Now, I've never known that, so this is the third case of this since 1970. He said it's the second time in 17 months that gun violence has been an issue in Newport News. Now, this might be controversial, or I might be saying this wrong. Shooting somebody is a violent act. And I guess it all comes down to consciousness. I mean, it's still violence. Like, bloodshed is violence. But he said the other time this happened was in high school, with another student. I think the comparison is different from a psychological standpoint, but I mean, we'll take it at that, and I'll get into that later on too. The mayor spoke, and they all, he praised the police, praised the superintendent, praised the courage of the teacher. Now, supposedly the teacher got all the students out, but according to a witness a witness that administered aid to her when she was shot, the lady said they heard a shot because her student was her son's was next door. She came out and said she's been shot, passed out. Now, I don't know, if this is when she let the students out, or this is a whole totally different story. But the story where they said they heard the shot and the lady came running out the class like, hey, I've been shot. And they thought she was shot in the hand. you know, and fell over and she collapsed and they started giving her chest compressions and all of that stuff. It seems a little different. So something's missing in that. Now, I'm not saying it's a conspiracy and not to discredit this woman's actions. But I mean, I'm just telling you what's put out there right now. What I'm going to say about the situation is, you know, from what they're saying, the little boy just stood up, pulled the gun out, shot her. Now, for her to put her hand up when he shot, supposedly he shot, she put her hand up, you know, I guess to block it, the bullet went through the hand and hit her in the shoulder, right? Now, I don't know how close she was to him, because me thinking, honestly, if a little kid pulls a gun out, in a split second, you can tell if the gun is real or not. I mean, I'm not saying she can't, but when he put his hand up, when she put her hand up like that, I'm honestly thinking, how close was she when he shot her? You know, because like Friday, the news was, hey, it was a disagreement in class. Today, as things come out, she was supposed to be teaching a lesson at the board and he shot her. But if she was teaching a lesson at the board, how close was the boy for her to look and judge that the gun was real and then get shot? So like, did he pull the gun out, hold it, and then shoot her? Or did he just pull the gun out and shoot her? Because either way, she put her hand up. So I'm like, she had to know that the gun, she had to figure out that the gun was real. She had to be close enough on him to see the gun. Because, you know, kids take toy guns and stuff to school and toys to school anyway. And he's 6 years old. In her mind, I don't think she thought him of shooting her. You know, she probably thought he was playing around. Hey, sit down, don't do that, you know. But anyway, what I got out of the whole thing that was disturbing to me is this. And I'm not saying they're painting a narrative, so don't nobody put that in these words out there or think this is something other than what it is. No one, let me say this real quick. There are two victims in this case. In this case of events. One of them is the shooter. He's a 6-year-old boy, for God's sake. He doesn't know anything. Yeah, he knows how to talk and, you know, basic social, you know, etiquette and things like that. And he's still learning. He only got a 6-year-old's mind. And I'm not sure if charges will be filed. And the reason why I say this is, yeah, he brought the gun to school, shot the gun, and it's bad that he did that. But he's only 6. That's the biggest thing, because like they were dancing around the subject of answering a lot of questions, because this is the biggest thing. You can't go to him. This is not an adult that shot somebody. You know, an adult, you can do why he did or what was his motive. With a 6-year-old and their minds being as imaginative as they are, you can't detect why somebody does something. Was it intentional? Was it not intentional? Nobody can rationalize that a 6-year-old would intentionally try to hurt somebody. You know? So you have to have a bunch of child psychologists, a bunch of detectives talk. It's issues with the law. The laws, how do they deal with this? If I am the family of the shooter, you know, because you gotta remember, Abigail Warner is an adult, and yes, she is the victim. So she knows how to handle this case, you know, the case differently as a victim of shooting and an adult. Whereas this little boy only got family. If I was the family of this little boy, I would not rely on just city or state appointed psychologists. I would get my own people, because to represent a kid is almost like I'm not saying, and the reason why I'm saying this, let me say this, the reason why I'm saying this, guys, is this. The chief of police is very upset. And like, you know, he's looking at it as a crime. It's intentional. You know, as I get more stuff out, I mean, because you can see the man's pissed. Sometimes emotions can run rampant. And I don't want anybody that's involved in the law, you know, in defense of this child. He needs an outside you know, outside representation. Get your own lawyer. Get your own psychologist to represent you. Don't go with nothing with the state, because remember, the other people work for the state. And I'm not saying it's a conspiracy. I'm not saying they're trying to gang up on a boy or something, but a couple of things that left me for pause. Number one, in this 25 minute press conference, right? They never at once mentioned the child's welfare or his state of being. Now, true enough, he's a minor. They're not going to say his name. But it was just odd to me that everything was about Abigail, painting a narrative of victimhood. And yes, she is a victim. You understand what I'm saying? That was shot by a child. Now, am I saying the child was wrong? Was right or wrong? He wasn't right. But he didn't know what he was doing neither. Even at 6 years old, how much adult knowledge do you have in your head where you could be fully functional and make a rational decision to pull a gun out and shoot somebody in class like, I'm going to kill this bitch in front of these kids? And we have to take the emotion out of this sometimes. Yeah, it's appalling. We got to take the emotion out of it. No one spoke at all about the child. Then one dumb reporter going to say something when they open the floor for questions. He going to say, how was he holding the gun? What does it fucking matter? And he was holding it in his hand. You know, yeah, there's been a rash of school shootings. And, you know, I think this right here, in my own opinion, he brought the gun to school. Probably tried to, you know, emulate something he seen on TV or just some type of character or some type of bravado. Shot the gun. Didn't know the gun would go off. Now, this is the thing you can see. And I think this is the narrative that's painted for somebody to get arrested. Something has to happen. Something will happen. Either to this young child or his mother. Because what they found out was the gun was legally purchased by his mother. Right? Now the gun was legally purchased. So she followed all the aspects of the law having the gun. This is the big thing. Big hang up they're having. And they're saying, oh, we got an ongoing investigation. This right here is not that big of an investigation with a 6-year-old boy shooting a teacher. Why? When the boy was caught, after it was over, I know he was scared to death. What happened? Why'd you do that? Kids will tell. When they scared, they gonna tell. The parents speak to you. You gonna tell. You know what I'm saying? You just shot somebody. It wasn't like on a video game. And it wasn't like on TV. When you shot him, the reaction was different. That's traumatizing in itself to a child. You got to remember, kids have imaginary minds, man. He had the gun on this person, like I said. The big thing here is whether they trying to charge the parent or the boy. Now, I don't know how you charge a 6-year-old. And I don't even know if Abigail Warner, because they said she asked, was the students okay? If she even wants to press charges. But even if she does or does not, this is one of them things because of the rising epidemic of school violence and rising of shootings, action to be taken. They never said nothing about his well-being, how he's doing. How is this affecting him psychologically? Because we know how it's affecting the students at school, and it's affecting Abigail Warner and other teachers that had to render aid to somebody bleeding in the school, a place of higher education. A place of education where it shouldn't be no violence. So it's traumatic all the way around the board. But you got to understand something. It's still a baby. Am I taking this side now because he needs a little ass tore up? But it's just, this is a strange case. It's disturbing too, guys. But I mean, I would give him the help and support that he needs, you know, to get him back on base. Because, I mean, he's only 6 years old. And being honest with you, man, by the time he's 20-something years old, he probably won't even remember most of the stuff that happened. You know? I think that the biggest issue with this was the gun secured. Yes, she legally got it. And that only takes away, that doesn't really help anything. You know, it helps that the gun was illegally obtained, because she said it's for protection or whatever. But was the gun put up? Was it properly secured? And properly secured doesn't mean how, oh, I just had it in a drawer. You know, this is going to be a serious case, because how did the kid get it? And this is the thing, when these children, these small children, this is why you always have to be cognizant of your children and watch what they see, what you say around them, and what they do, and you correct it immediately. Because for all we know, the lady might have did the right thing. He might have just seen her lock something up, lock the gun up, and he just knew how to, you know, kids are inquisitive. He just went in there and snuck and got the gun and went to school. All of a sudden, he done did something that endangered himself, you know, painted him a certain way, and also painted the parent a certain way. Because when a kid is small like this, first thing you do is attack the parent. We know that. You know, as soon as this thing broke Friday, everybody was like, what the hell? You know, me as well. Like, what kind of kids you got? Like I said, guys, there are two victims in this. The shooter and the shooting victim. You know, I wish Miss Werner the best, and I hope this young man gets the help that he needs and the support that he needs. I just hope it's not one of them situations where they got to get somebody so bad. He's 6. He's 6, man. You know what I'm saying? Do I think something should happen to him? Yeah. Do I think he need to be locked up or anything like that? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what his mental state is, but it's like nobody's giving updates. They're only talking about this lady, and that's the issue I have. She's in stable condition. That's good news. She's on the road back to recovery. What happened when this boy was apprehended? Where was he taken? How is his mental state? Did he see his parents? What's going on with this boy? If he was 18 or something, I could give a damn. But this is a baby. I got a 6-year-old daughter, so I can relate to his thought pattern. This is one of them things where, you know, I'm not saying it's a bad guy versus good guy. State versus, I'm not going to paint a 6-year-old child a bad guy over something that I don't have enough information on. And they're not giving enough information on. And that's the big thing I have a problem with, because nobody's giving any information from both sides. We're only hearing from the somber, sad part of the story where a teacher got shot. A 6-year-old boy right now somewhere is scared, in custody, and uncertain about everything. And, you know, I usually say it is what it is, but this is messed up. And I hope his family is giving him the support that he needs. And I hope the community where he's from, you know, stays in contact with his parents to make sure they're okay. You know, and really, that's the third victim, because he's away from his parents. This whole weekend, man, it was a lot of sleepless nights for a whole lot of people. The students, faculty, 6-year-old shooter, Abigail Werner, the victim. It's not a good thing. But listen, guys, do me a favor. If you get a chance, go and look at the press conference. You can find it all over the internet. They really don't speak about the child. Now, I know he's a child and he can't really say his name, but I mean, we still got to think a little bit. There's still a kid, man, and he got emotions too. Do I think he meant to shoot the woman? He meant to pull the gun trigger. But I don't think he went there like, I'm going to kill this woman. And boom. And I don't want them to paint that narrative, because, you know, sometimes the media play a lot of emotion. Fear and emotions, what they do. Can you imagine that happening in school? They're starting young. He's only 6. Oh, she survived. Oh, thank God. Oh, she's so brave. The will to survive is the will to survive. She was shot one time. The gun was on the ground. He dropped the gun. It wasn't like he was... Now, I don't mean to sound insensitive. I'm not. Because, I mean, she looks like she was a pretty nice woman. She's a school teacher, so she get respect from me. But I'm not going to make it like this boy was just a vagrant that went in there ravaging. You know, we're not. But I mean, it's still a child. And I know she's thinking about that too. But anyway, as always, guys, like, comment, share, and subscribe, man. Leave me a comment. Tell me what y'all think, man. Go and take a look at the press conference they had today. You'll find it. It's on. I saw it on Google. And tell me what you think. But I mean, I just hope that this little boy gets all of the support he needs, and the system don't come in there and just do something out of vengeance of saying we've done something. This is what has to be done. Sometimes the media can paint a witch hunt. You know, don't let your son fall victim to that, man. I'll see you guys in the next video.